You're listening to Simply the Best Sports Take, the best podcast breaking down the best stuff in sports with host Sean Bingham. His takes are so good, he dropped the mic, but then you wouldn't be able to hear him, and that would suck.
Welcome into STB Sports Take, Simply the Best Sports Podcast. I am your host, Sean Bingham. Thank you for being here, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, wherever you're getting your podcast. Thank you for being here and listening and watching. Please hit that subscribe button. You guys are amazing. Today is an awesome podcast. It's just a nice, chill, sit-down interview with my good friend, Scott Warner. He's one of the most prominent Dodger fans on the planet. Follow him on all social platforms at ScottWarner18. And I just finished a really fun conversation with him. The guy's a very, very smart businessman. We've actually done business in the past together. He used to be neighbors with Ryan Smith, the new owner of the Utah Jazz. So we got into a little bit of that. Really fun conversation. I'm just going to let you guys see it. Here it is. Scott, welcome into STB Sports Take. We are happy to finally have you on the podcast.
It's good to be here, brother. It has been a while. We've been talking about this for a while, so.
I know. Thank you for being here. So I've mentioned to our listeners, viewers, whatever, that you are a diehard LA guy, Dodgers, Lakers. The Jazz just beat the Lakers last night. I already know your excuse in advance, no LeBron, no AD, but I just wanted to rub it in real quick that the Jazz beat the Lakers last night.
I want to be the first to congratulate you on that, and I'm happy that you're so happy about
it. Okay, so talk to me. Something I've mentioned as well is that you are good friends with Ryan Smith, who recently bought the Jazz. And now we've got Dwayne Wade in. That's been like a hot topic on the podcast. So I just want to start immediately with that, if we can, please. What kind of insider info do you have? Maybe tell the people your relationship with Ryan Smith, and then tell us as much as you are comfortable telling us.
Yeah, the truth is I haven't talked to Ryan as of late. However, I've kind of watched and seen what he's been doing, and Ryan's he's a marketer.
Yeah.
And I don't think he could have done a better job than pulling Dwayne Wade into the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows you how smart he is. And because of Wade getting involved, it's only going to create more opportunities for the organization. So when I read it, and I had no idea it was going to happen. And I just read a headline. In fact, one of my buddies sent me a text, "Is this really going down?" And I just kind of shook my head. The guy's genius.
He really is.
I don't like to tell Ryan how great he is to make his head bigger than it already is, but it was a good move, Ryan, and props to you. And who knows what else he has up his sleeve. I'm happy for him. And the Jazz, man, I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of the Jazz, but I do have, the fact that Ryan's involved, it makes it tough to not be proud and see what he's doing with it. And this was a move for the organization. But yes, the Jazz they're scary good. But Sean, you know this, and every other smart Jazz fan on the planet knows this.
Here it comes, Jazz fans. Buckle up.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. Friends, family, there are going to be people in this office right here that are not going to be happy about it. But I talk with them about it all the time. They cannot perform when it matters most. And when we get into the postseason, it's year after year. They have great regular seasons, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty, they just don't perform. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you that Donovan Mitchell is, and they didn't even have him last night, right?
No, he's out. Yeah.
So, we were missing the team in many cases. So again, congratulations to the Jazz. But, Spider Mitchell he might be my favorite player in the league. And I can't wait till he's in a Laker jersey. It's just,
don't say it. Don't say that. Don't say that.
But he's such a good dude as well. But, who knows, Sean? This could be the year that the Jazz actually make their mark, and how incredible would that be for Ryan Smith and
oh my gosh,
D Wade? And I see more life in Jazz fans than I've ever seen, which sometimes is obnoxious. However, I'm happy for them.
Well, let me ask you this: so you obviously live in Utah, and you're from the LA area, which is why you love the Lakers so much. But you've been here for years, and there's like this stigma among the NBA players, I guess, that Utah's like not cool enough, right? I feel like Dwayne Wade coming here can really shift that a little bit in our favor, in the Jazz's favor, and maybe actually land some stars to get, if we could get one more star to join Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, that would really put us over the top. But what do you think about that idea that Dwayne Wade could actually be a recruiting tool to get higher caliber players to want to be here?
It's going to play a significant role. It's going to play a significant role. And you know what? I think that the Utah stereotype, or kind of the way that a lot of people have viewed the state of Utah is changing drastically. And I mean, it is a happening place. It's one of the most beautiful destinations on the planet. Anyone and everyone that I've ever brought into town, you know, whether business, friends, family, it's just beautiful. But on top of that, the things to do out here are growing. Places to eat, name drop Bam Bam's barbecue, but the great places out here to eat, the incredible companies that are growing. I mean, having spoken about Ryan Smith, I mean, watching that dude start something from nothing to $8 billion, and it's still growing. And he's one story along with so many. You and I know this. Sean and I have done business together in the past, and this place is happening, and it's only going to get bigger and better. And so I think that kind of, you know, oh, Utah's not the cool place. That's changing. That's shifting. Yeah. You know, you and I both know that. But Dwayne coming on board, it's going to turn some heads. And I think, and another reason why it's going to probably be tough to get Donovan Mitchell in a Lakers jersey is because I know how much he loves it here and the people. And I mean, that's saying something, man. That's saying something. And I think a lot of these other players feel the same way.
No, I agree. And you look at Dwayne Wade, and it was, you know, Woj on ESPN reported that he really wanted to be actively involved, not only with the team, but in the region, which to me says he's looking at, you know, this 42-year-old billionaire, Ryan Smith. And he's like, I want to follow in this guy's footsteps. Like, my basketball career, my playing days anyway, are over. I want to go be an investor. I want to be in the tech startup of Silicon Slopes. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that could view that as a reason to come to Utah, because it's been a big draw to be in New York or LA because of the opportunities outside of basketball. And I think Silicon Slopes and the growth in the tech industry here could play a role in that. I mean, who knows? You know, we don't have the clubs that LA has. We never will, but we've got other things to offer.
You never know. Yeah. Let's start one, Sean. We deserve one out here.
We should.
Anyway, so, but what I was going to say is, yes,
you're going to make fun of Jazz more.
One of the things that I think a lot of us have seen or watched, our athletes are starting to get involved and having a lot of fun with getting involved with software companies. You know, who was it? KD isn't Kevin Durant involved with Coinbase? They just went.
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I know he's like LeBron, where he's heavily invested in a lot of different things. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know if he is or not.
And I actually think it's great I mean, if you got some money, athletes do get involved with software companies. I mean, that's a smart move. You know, and I think a lot of athletes, based on stories that they've seen about some previous big name athletes, they want to be smarter with their money, which is great. And Utah, if there's any place you want to be, Silicon Slopes, this is the place. And so, you know, hit me up, athletes that are listening. I'm looking for investors always, and I know Sean is too.
Yeah. And you've had some good investments over the years with Gigg. I don't know if you want to do a little plug for Gigg, but go for it, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, and you played a little role in that.
Yeah.
So
you've grown it and shifted a lot since then. But tell everybody. Tell them.
Yeah. So well, when I didn't meet you then, but this homeboy of mine, Sean, and his brother Justin, I have a tremendous love for music, and so they had started a company called Top Blip, which had a really, really cool vibe and was really, really interesting in creating a fun, competitive competition platform that, you know, we were working with some of the biggest names in the music industry, and it only got bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, it was cool enough that you know, Sean and Justin got me involved, and I left something that I had been working on for working with, you know, Pinnacle for years. But anyway, the first couple of years were spent in the music industry, and I was developing product to help artists tell a better story, to brand themselves. And the platform that you and your brother had created, you know, kind of worked well on fitting and creating more awareness around things. And I realized
just real quick, for those that don't know, it was basically like an American Idol online that we had created. Anyway, keep going.
Yep. And it was great because it generated and drove millions of eyes, you know, with community engagement. And that's what Gigg is all about. And so is community engagement and creating calls to action to engage people to tell the story of a brand, a business, an initiative. I started using it for a couple of my local businesses, and the best way to tell your story as a business is through the eyes of the customer, or the fan, or the member, or the patient. And so, the Gigg platform was built to help, really create a special experience around customers and tell your story in the most effective way. And that's what we've been selling, and it's going really, really well. However, I told you this yesterday. We just launched a global campaign with the Imagine Dragons yesterday, who actually participated in our competitions back in the day before they hit big, which is so cool. Now they're probably one of the top 10 biggest bands on the planet right now.
Yeah.
So they're using the Gigg platform to engage their awesome fan base and created a fun way to get the message out about their new singles and
it's a cover competition, right? So that people can cover their songs. And
yep, that's right.
What do you win? What does the winner get?
$20,000 and they get to meet the Imagine Dragons.
Wait, for real? They get 20 grand?
At $20K. And that is, so the sponsor, or the person, the company, Spry Gum, name drop for those guys, who are an awesome company. They are the ones that are hooking the winner up with that much money. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
Wonder if we could do a little gig competition involving sports. Have you ever thought about that, by the way?
Duh. Let's go. Let's go. We've already done it. I've done a couple competitions with the Dodgers and some of the players, and we're starting to get involved with. We did a really, really cool campaign with the the Georgia Bulldogs. We have a couple really other cool. It's just great to engage fans in a unique way, and man, really cool. We catch up, but you need to see kind of what we're doing now, because it would work hand in hand with some of the stuff that you're doing with this podcast.
Dude, I'd be so down. We'll have to chat about that after this. But very cool. So you brought up the Dodgers. I don't talk Major League Baseball much on this podcast. I mean, the season hasn't been really in full swing until just the last couple weeks. But you are a Dodger diehard. You're probably one of the most prominent Dodger fans in the world, I would argue. For those that do not know, follow Scott on Twitter. It's Scott Warner 18, right?
That's right. And all my social channels.
Okay, so follow @Scott Warner 18. And first off, you have a humongous following on Twitter that really seems to revolve around the Dodgers and cereal, right? And music.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell us about the Dodgers. Tell us about how, I know there's so many things on my mind right now. I'm sorry. You had and I don't know how much you want to talk about, but you had a little incident on Twitter that was a little bit of drama there. Do you want to tell the people about that?
Yeah. No, I've talked openly about it. It was tough, man. You don't realize, I use Twitter as an outlet, and social media in general as an outlet. I share what's on my mind. It's therapeutic for me in many cases. But about 2 months ago, over 2 months ago now, I went to go tweet. No joke. I had the tweet sitting in my inbox. I was sitting down eating some Honey Smacks. I was like, oh, dude, Mom, I haven't had it forever. And I went to tweet it out, and it's like, your account is suspended. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I tried to get a fix. No, it's suspended. So I went to my email inbox, and it said, Scott, your account is officially suspended due to some post that you shared 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago of my boys dancing to Meghan Trainor's "It's All About That Bass." That was the song. And they shut me down for that. Copyright infringement, they called it.
What?
I'm like, wait, what? This is fishy. I don't understand this. So I tried working on it to get it fixed. I wasn't getting any response from anybody. And the next thing I know, I had been suspended for 8 weeks. And it was getting messy. It was really cool. I had some great support from, my friends and family, or Twitter friends that I had made, and there was a free Scott Warner hashtag that was getting pushed around, and out of nowhere. And I reached out to the publishing companies. I reached out to the licensing companies. I reached out to Twitter numerous times, and I just was not getting any traction. There's a whole bunch more to the story, but I honestly lucked out. I lucked out getting it back. There still are tons of accounts that never ever got
Wow.
unsuspended.
So what happened? One day, all of a sudden, you just got an email, or you just logged in and it worked, or how did it? What was the? I mean, I know your account's back, but how did you find out?
I actually found out through a friend that let me know, and I posted immediately after, and I didn't even go check to see why it had been unsuspended. I just thought maybe they just, maybe I'd fallen through the cracks and they just turned it back on. But I received an email that said we had a chance to review your situation, and we felt that we should reinstate your account. Please be careful about what you share. So this is just a heads up to everyone listening.
Yeah.
Be very, very careful about things that you share, even if music is playing in the background. You never know. I mean, they'll take your voice away in a second over that. And I still worry. I went back into Twitter and started looking for posts, but I think I have 60,000 tweets at this point, looking for posts because I know that I've had music in other posts. I mean, I see music in posts all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking, and who knows? I have some thoughts. I think I shared with you behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, and I get that. But you're back now, and you really are. I mean, is it safe to say you're one of the most prominent Dodger fans on the planet?
Yeah, I've been called that a few times by some pretty influential people. I think there was an article written about the top Dodger fans, top 10 in the world.
And you made the list?
Yeah, I made the list. So
what number were you?
So awesome. Honey, what do you think, babe? I'm the top 10.
What number were you on the list?
It was in no particular order.
Oh, no particular order. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I wish they ranked. I would love to see me as number one. I think anyway, but I'm a diehard Dodger fan. And so I grew up down in Southern California. My earliest memories were going with my dad or grandpa to the Forum. I remember being a kid watching, just a little kid watching Magic, Kareem, Byron Scott, Cooper, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis. I remember all these big dudes watching at a young age, which.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Well, finish your thought, then I'm going to put you on the spot.
And then going to Dodger games, watching some of the greats too in the late '80s. So those are my earliest memories, and I have just had a tremendous love for I'm even a Kings fan. I remember watching Wayne Gretzky as a little kid. Playing.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's where my heart is, and we're on a streak, dude. The LA ain't no joke.
It really isn't.
Good to me with those two championships.
Dodgers, Lakers.
Yeah.
The Lakers won. Don't get me started on the little asterisk, pandemic playoffs we had back then. But but I want to ask you, and put you on the spot. We did not talk about this in advance, but if you were to have your Mount Rushmore of Laker players, because you just mentioned Magic and some of those guys back in the, in the 80s, Kareem, James Worthy, who would be on your Mount Rushmore? So you get four guys. Obviously, there's Shaq and Kobe, and I mean, there's
Magic, Kobe.
Does
Kareem.
LeBron make it? I mean, let's hear it.
Magic, Kobe, Kareem.
Okay, you got to go one more though.
Jerry West.
Okay. So what would LeBron need to do to supplant one of them? If he wins the title again this year, does LeBron make the Laker Mount Rushmore? Jerry West only got one.
Yeah, but Jerry West is Jerry West.
Yeah. No Shaq, by the way. You had Kareem, Magic, Jerry West, and Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Shaq would be right there. I might switch him out for West, but Jerry West just. Man, that's tough. That's tough, dude. That's a tough one.
They've had some of the greatest.
James isn't there yet for me. Not yet.
Yeah.
I would say two, and I might consider him up there. Two more championships.
Two more? Yeah. No, that's fair. Because when people think of LeBron James, they're probably going to think more of the Cavs, which is interesting because he only got one title there, but that's where he's from. That's where he played most of his seasons. The Miami years are almost forgotten. He played 4 seasons there, went to 4 finals, won 2 of them.
Yeah.
Those were honestly his best 4 years. That's where he won. Yeah. I think he won 2 MVPs those 4 years. But
yeah, that was his prime. I mean, he's still doing great though right now. Without injuries.
So
go ahead. I was going to say, the Lakers are without question the best team on the planet without injuries. I mean, if we have these guys without injuries, we're going to compete and win another championship. I believe that.
So, and I don't disagree entirely. I definitely agree with you that if fully healthy, they will plow through the Western Conference. Well, not that they're going to like sweep everybody, but they will reach the finals if fully healthy. But the Nets at full strength, if they can get some games under their belt and get some team chemistry, that's a pretty tough team to beat. And I personally would put them ahead of the Lakers if fully healthy, if they can get some team chemistry.
Yeah,
but you disagree.
They're legit. They're not playing around. So they're going to be one to. It would be so fun to see powerhouses.
I know
from both sides. I think we're all begging for it.
Yeah.
Just like the old days, right? Or when we were kids. I mean, we need to see that. There's too much dominance, and the Lakers are a dominant team when they're healthy, right? But knowing the Nets are getting into that spot, that makes it fun. Knowing what incredible games or battles we get to see down the road. I want to see it. We all do.
Yeah. Plus, it's New York and LA, coast to coast. Those are the two biggest markets. The NBA would love that. It would be a ratings, just through the roof.
Yeah.
But they got to get healthy. So are you, with those injuries, are you at all, as a Lakers fan, are you concerned? We haven't seen Anthony Davis in months. We haven't seen LeBron James in a month. Are they sandbagging? I'm kind of sick of seeing stars sit just because. I'm not saying that's what LeBron and AD are doing, but I do get the sense that the Nets and the Lakers are much more healthy than we're led to believe, and that they're just kind of sandbagging for the playoffs. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I don't doubt that. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't doubt that. It really, if you look at it, in a smart way, they are being smart in some cases, but it's a little frustrating. I think without them, we're in big trouble. So,
no chance.
But I think LeBron will be okay here soon. AD is the bigger concern, but we don't know. I mean, you never know what to believe anymore these days.
So who's the greatest player on the planet right now?
Eesh. Right now, dude,
the two guys that come to my mind are LeBron James and Kevin Durant, and neither one of them's playing. So
Luka's so good though. I mean, dude, and LeBron. I'm gonna say LeBron. LeBron is the best player on the planet right now. I think.
Who did you say before that's so good? Luka?
Luka, dude.
That guy is a freaking phenomenal
beast, and he's still a kid. Watch out for that guy.
Yeah, no,
I put him in that conversation. He's only going to get better. So yes, that's my thought. But LeBron, I would give it to LeBron.
It's wild that he's still doing it at his age, and to think D Wade's buying part of the Jazz, and LeBron's still arguably the greatest player on the planet. And just a few seasons ago, they were teammates. It's just crazy, like how he's maintained what he's doing, and Dwayne Wade's just like an afterthought when it comes to playing days. But,
dude, if you had told me 5 years ago that LeBron James would be a Laker, Ryan Smith was going to be the owner of the Jazz, D Wade would buy in, even Anthony Davis would be gone, I'd be like, nope, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And here we are.
That's so true, dude.
Isn't it crazy?
That is wild, actually, to think about. That is like so
we'd be
wild.
wearing masks everywhere we go. In fact, everyone in the world would be. I'd be like, yeah, sure. So what's next?
That is very, very true. That is very true. Okay, so give us your predictions on your Dodgers, and tell us what's going on in Major League Baseball. I don't even freaking know. The Dodgers are probably really good again, are they?
Yes, they absolutely are. However, they have a 2-game skid right now. They were 13-2, and I believe they're now 13-4.
Okay.
They lost the heartbreaker last night.
How are my Nats doing?
They're doing okay. I just love, I hate to say it, that they won the championship the year after Bryce Harper left.
I know.
I feel bad for Bryce because
I feel bad for him too, but it is kind of funny that he bails for Philly. Philly doesn't make the playoffs, and the Nationals win the World Series.
What's going through his head, honestly, when they won?
Dude, there's no way he was truly rooting for them. There's no way. Like, I get that it doesn't mean you're spiteful, but like just the natural competitor and proud man inside of you is going to be like, man, I really want them to win for them. And like, I love those guys. Those are my teammates. He probably loves a ton of those guys still. But deep down, he's like, really? Like right after I leave, all of a sudden they're better? I thought I was the best player on the team. I thought I was one of the best players on the planet. And they,
He ate some humble pie, but he doesn't care. He's laughing all the way to the bank how much money he got. I still can't believe 13 years? I can't remember what the deal was, but
Yeah, he'll be playing in Philly till he's like 56 or something like that now.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, that was a rough one to see the Dodgers go out like they did to those guys. But I was happy for that. I thought about you,
Yeah.
the championship. Good for you.
I went to 2 of those games. They lost both the games I went to, but I went to 2 of the home games because remember that was the series against the Astros where the home team lost all 7 games.
Oh
The
gosh,
weirdest World Series ever.
we're not going to talk about the Astros, are we? Because I have some choice words, and I would ask that my mom, grandmother, if they're listening, to please turn it off. Those.
Let's hear your Dodger or your Astros talk.
Let's just say that I will be there when they play in LA in August. And
Are they letting fans in yet into Dodger Stadium?
Oh yeah. That'll be an interesting experience to say the least. Those guys.
Do you think the Astros should have their World Series stripped?
Yes.
Yeah.
Times 10.
Yeah, I do too. Do you think it's common though? Like, is this sort of cheating? Is it common sign stealing? It's kind of interesting. I do want to hear your take on this for real, but let me give you my thoughts before you respond.
Yeah.
Like, if you're stealing signs, like, I don't know, it's kind of part of the game almost, like to just know to have a way. I get like the banging on the drum but when they start to wear like the microphones or whatever they were doing, when they're using technology, that's where they cross a line that's just totally. But imagine you've got a guy on second base that can see the catcher's signals.
That's part of the game.
If you've learned their sign, that's part of the game.
That's why you see them doing, like they'll tap the side of their thigh or whatever, because they know that the guy can see it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's strategy. In fact, we competed in a tournament. This was years ago, early 20s, and the catcher was leaving his sign wide open, and so we were calling it, 1, 2, 3, and because the catcher that's part of the game. If the guy's not going to keep his sign covered, I coach baseball, and you got to teach the boys to keep their sign calling hidden.
Yeah.
But when you start using technology, that is, come on, man, that changes everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything. I was talking to my good friend Ross Stripling, who he pitched for the Dodgers at the time. Now he pitches for the Blue Jays. He said, I would so much rather pitch to a guy that did not know my signs, and on the most crazy steroids, that if he touched the ball, it would go over the fence. I'd rather pitch to him than some dude that knows what pitch I'm throwing him. If you know what pitch is coming at you,
gosh, yeah,
it changes everything. It's like, okay, here comes a curve. I'm going to wait on it. Boom. Oh, change up. Oh, this one's done. Yeah, it's so stupid. It makes me.
Yeah, my theory is if you can know what pitch is coming through studying film and guys' tendencies or getting their signs, in a more legal way because you've got a base runner or even a base coach, if they could somehow see, which I don't think they could, but once you start having like a buzzer on your bat or on a necklace that you're wearing, like taped to your chest, where it's like buzzing into you from a camera that they're stealing signs with, that's where I'm like, okay, now you're just straight up cheating, because you're right. Like, if you know a curveball is coming, think how much easier it is to hit that than if you were expecting fastball or changeup.
Yeah, so as bad as that is, let's take it even further. How devastating is it, for the team, or as a fan of my team that I've been waiting since '88 to watch a world championship?
Yeah,
I'm paying boatloads of money, right? I paid a boatload of money to go to that Game 7, right? With the Astros Dodgers series. They have been cheating. It shouldn't even have gone to Game 7, man. So you talk
about
the
NLCS, right?
No, it was World Series.
World Series. Yeah, sorry.
World Series. World Series. I'm sitting there and thinking, devastated that we lost, and then you hear about that. Dude, for a year I was like, these garbage guys. Garbage. Anyway, they'll get taunted the rest of their careers.
Yeah.
All of them.
So there's been guys doing steroids have had very difficult time getting into the Hall of Fame. Do you think that will carry over to something like this?
I think it should.
I think it should. You see guys like Pete Rose can't even get into the Hall of Fame because he bet on his own team, and these guys are straight up cheating. So
yeah. And at least Barry Bonds didn't know what the pitch was when he was roiding and sending them over the fence. It still takes a lot of,
hand-eye coordination to hit the ball.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a different day and age we live. I don't know. It's hard at times, but I don't think they deserve it. I don't.
Yeah. It's interesting that I thought they'd get stripped of it, but you can't really like award it to the Dodgers either. It's just kind of like, you know what, we're just going to say there was not a World Series champ that year, you know.
The Dodgers wouldn't take it.
They wouldn't even want it. Yeah. Nobody would want it. All right, let's do this. Got just a couple more minutes before I need to let you go. I know, and we got to wrap up, but 2 or 3 most memorable sports moments. So this could be, you know, like the Game 7 you just mentioned. It could be when you were a kid, but just help us as an audience relive some epic sports moments that maybe we've forgotten that to you like really stand out.
Gosh, man, there are so many. I could think of 5 that come to my mind, and trying to rank them will be tough outside of the Kirk Gibson home run in '88, the run around the bases.
The fist pump. Yep.
I mean, that for everybody. I remember right where I was, you know, I was just a kid and I was jumping on the couch, you know, when that happened. That was incredible. You know,
he had been injured, right? Came into DH or something.
Yeah, it's such an incredible story. And you can find stories all over the place about it, but you know, another one, and I was there. It was I think it was game 2 or 3 of the 2018 World Series where it went into 18 innings, longest World Series game ever. And once he hit it over the fence to win the game. That was
what year was that?
2018.
23 innings. I do remember that. Holy cow.
18 innings.
18 innings. Sorry.
18. Yeah. So 18 innings. Another one, I will never forget the Fiesta Bowl with Boise State and Oklahoma. The Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
That was one of the most incredible games I've ever seen. The USC Texas Rose Bowl game with Vince Young was the most incredible performance I think I've ever seen by an athlete in a game.
Are you a USC fan? I know that's LA area. No.
No, I'm not. In fact, far from.
Okay.
So that was another game that was incredible to me. I mean, dude, I could go on for days. Omar Morgan interception against Kansas State, BYU Kansas State, Cotton Bowl '96 was stupid amazing. You know, the game I will never forget LeBron James running down the court and stuffing that layup in one of the NBA final games.
Yeah.
Never quit, never give up. Ran his butt off down the court.
That was game 7 against the Warriors when the Warriors were 73-9 that year.
Yeah.
I was in Panama City for that one, watching it in Spanish.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan knocking it down against the Jazz.
Yep.
No one will ever forget that here in the state of Utah. I mean, again, there are so many games that are just incredible. Just this one we watched recently with March Madness, Gonzaga and UCLA.
Yeah. I know.
That might have been the best ending ever in a March Madness game.
I know.
Anyway, so
only for the Zags to go get blown out in the championship. But
that was rough. Baylor was no joke, dude. No joke.
Yeah. I know you're a BYU fan, obviously. Are you UCLA fan? You said not USC.
Yeah, UCLA. You know, if you were to ask my family, UCLA is. If there was no BYU, I'd be a UCLA fan for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I also have a little love in my heart for ASU, but definitely UCLA would be my next team if I had to.
And then the Rams.
Rams fan. Yes.
And so what do you think about the San Diego Chargers now being the LA Chargers?
Stupid. I don't like it. I think just stay in San Diego, man. I mean,
I don't get
San Diego's pride and joy. The Chargers belong in San Diego. Everyone knows it. And LA's already got teams. They'll always be the stepchild, just like the Clippers will be to the Lakers, right? That's just the fact, and everyone knows it.
Yeah.
But I am very excited about the upcoming season. You know, for the Rams, it's gonna be pretty awesome. I have no doubt that we are going to perform. So we shall see how it turns out. But
I do think the Rams will be really good.
They will be very good.
Got Matthew Stafford, which he's been
coming over. It's big.
Putting up big numbers. I don't know if I view him as a winner or not. I guess we'll find out. But he's been stuck in Detroit forever. So
the win in LA, and you know, I don't know if you knew this, but Kershaw and Bradford have been not Bradford. I always want to
Stafford.
I always want to say Bradford. Stafford were homeboys in high school. They played.
Really?
Clayton Kershaw was on his offensive line.
Clayton Kershaw is an offensive lineman.
Yeah, Stafford and Kershaw were teammates, and they're really good friends. So Kershaw was out of his mind. Matt was coming into town. So
wow, that's actually pretty dope. That was Stacked high school. And what about the Anaheim Angels, or what about the Los Angeles Angels that are not even in the same county?
Yeah. Whenever I hear the Angels, I just think of Mike Trout throwing his incredible career away with the Angels. And I wish he played for the Dodgers. I mean, the Angels are the Angels. You know, they're all right. They're all right. They'll never be the Dodgers.
No. Now, I think of Albert Pujols leaving St. Louis and kind of just collecting stacks of cash and kind of disappearing from relevance in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
But well, dude, this was fun. Thank you for being on, and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott, again for being with us. Follow him on all social platforms at ScottWarner18. That is all the time we have for today. I will see you guys mañana. I am out. Peace.
Thanks for hanging with Simply the Best Sports Take. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and check out STB Sports Take.com. Simply the best in sports.